We were talking with Stephen Spalding from Common Cause about the IRS trying to figure out who should have tax-exempt status and who should not. Stephen, isn't it true that most of these 501c4 organizations that have been formed over the past few years, something like 85% are conservative political organizations?
Yeah, there's been, if you look at the data, because while these organizations don't have to report their donors, they do have to report when they're paying for political ads. Center for Responsive Politics crunched the numbers and found that over 85% of the money that was spent was on behalf of conservative candidates, and only about 11.2%, we can get that precise, were spent on behalf of liberal candidates. So, I mean, even when the IRS, as they should have been doing all along and weren't doing, but now that the IRS does have neutral, impartial criteria to flag and vet these applications, it's still going to be the case that it's going to be catching more conservative entities. But it's really a shame that it took this long to kind of figure this out. But again, the other part of the scandal is that the IRS hasn't been enforcing the law in the first place. These entities have been existing since 2010, blatantly violating our tax laws, and they've done nothing while they're getting tied up with these sort of mom-and-pop Tea Party operations.
Well, here's what I don't understand. If the IRS has the capacity to audit so many Americans, if your numbers don't seem to add up in your tax returns, how come they don't have the opportunity, or how come they don't have the resources, or maybe they do and they just refuse to do so? But 3,400 501c4s, that's not a lot of organizations. That's not a lot of audits in the grand scheme of things. Why doesn't the IRS just audit all of them?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think this is a quirk in the law that they can self-declare and begin operating. I mean, I could go set one up in an hour and start buying airtime and just submit the application. I mean, there needs to be a deep dive. I think Congress has really been asleep at the switch, and that's one thing that they could look at. There's a couple things that Congress needs to do. They need to pass the Disclose Act. They need to pass disclosure legislation so that you wouldn't have these 501c4 sham operations in the first place. And to be clear, the vast majority of 501c4s, Common Cause is a 501c4. They are totally in compliance with the law. It's just there's this subset that have cropped up as in the wake of Citizens United. But we need bright line rules. What is or is not allowed? Right now it says the primary purpose has to be social welfare, where lawyers got creative and said, well, if we spend 50.0001% of our resources on social welfare, we're in the clear. We can spend the other 49% of the money on campaign ads. We need a bright line test. We need to update these rules that haven't been updated since 1959. We need disclosure legislation, and we clearly need a better resourced IRS that can track this problem and fix it.